The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. And we've got a beautiful March 19th out here. And summer has hit Florida. So it's got the air conditioning cranked up. And the sun tea being made, lemons being sliced, and kind of interesting. For the markets out here, we've got a little bit of pullback off of yesterday. And, of course, on the S&P cash, we're off 9.7 points. Just always call it 10 points. Pretty much out at 2090 on the S&P cash. Volume is light-ish, below 2 billion shares on the New York Consolidated Tape. If you're new to my show, I talk about the New York Consolidated Tape volume, which is the NYSE, all stocks on it, no matter where they're traded. That includes the American Stock Exchange volume also. And if you add that together with all the NASDAQ volume, you'll get the total market of all exchange-traded volume. If you poke around, you'll see things that say Tape A, Tape B, Tape C in the market. And that depends on what you're looking at for volume. But as long as you can continue to compare apples to apples each day, whether it's floor traded or basically everything, including ECNs, then it's fine. It's a big enough sample size. It's not going to vary very often. But you do need to know which one you're looking at when we look at the NYSE. So volume not strong down here today. I suspect that we're going to bounce up to probably 2,105, something like that tomorrow. It just looks like this pullback so far, not a lot of energy in it. And I think a lot of people have thought, well, what does this really mean? Is it time for us to start exiting? And we're going to talk about that. My belief is that I think Mrs. Yellen basically gave the green light for another bubble, but we will talk about that here in a minute. And I think today is just a little bit of pullback for what we had yesterday. I don't see a lot of volume. I don't see a lot of stocks breaking, and I suspect we probably close something like 2095, 2097 on the S&P cash today by the end of the day. There's still enough shorts in this market that need to cover. I don't see this thing pulling back significantly until they do. And even then, it may be problematic to get any kind of pullback, and I'll explain why. But as always, we like to start off the show with a little bit of histoire.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1992, American Online goes public on the NASDAQ at the original price of $11.50. And, of course, a stock that was to go on to infamy as being matched up with Time Warner for a lot of people making pretty stupid decisions. Ted Turner, not a teetotaler. And if you loved him in the 80s when he was a mean drunk yelling epitaphs off the back of the America's Cup racing yacht at all the fuzzy little foreigners out there, you had to think he was a great American before he went full commie after Hanoi Jane. Then he went kind of insane. But at that point, kind of a fun-loving, a true American, and that he was foul-mouthed, drunk, and successful. So, what else can you say about that? Of course, he violently opposed it. They pushed it through anyway, and the rest is history when it blew up. I remember that when this thing hit a all-time high, because I was in my accountant's office, not far from the TFNN office, actually, stone's throw away at the time. And he was telling me how American Online was going to double the next year. And I had to tell him I was short. I think that was around 2000 or something. But I was pretty close, whatever it was. Something, I'd have to go back and look at my records, but something reminds me that it was like $110 and it went down to 70 within 6 months or something. And my accountant was sure that it was going to always come back. And I said, can I have this guy for my accountant? He certainly doesn't know the stock market. Anyway, he was buying at the top and selling at the bottom. But you never know what people are going to say. But I kind of vaguely remember going in there that day with all my paperwork and him telling me how well America Online was going higher and higher at the, of course, this probably had to be February of 2000, right? So at the top of the dot-com bubble, which kind of makes me think of a few things. And I thought about them last night when I was looking at this. Two thoughts. The first thought is that we have our own Tokyo Joe. For those people that haven't been around, on January 6th in 2000, Tokyo Joe Park was an operator of a well-known internet stock picking site. He was charged Wednesday with stock fraud. Basically, this guy got enough people to go along with him that he was the market. And he would basically load up on a huge amount of stock, pick it, sell to the people that were buying it, and be out before anybody could move. And this was an incredibly nutty kind of time where somebody could just pick a stock and run it $6 if they had enough, if they had a big enough megaphone. And Tokyo Joe did. But what he did do, of course, is instantly sell when he was telling people to buy. Securities and Exchange Commission suit basically took all his money away and sent him overseas somewhere. I'm trying to remember the guy's actual name. But the only reason I bring this up is I kind of feel like we've got our own Tokyo Joe back, but he's legal. He's got a big megaphone out here, and he's a dummy. The question is he a dummy for somebody else, or is he just a dummy? My guess has always been that somebody that's the consummate insider is always the consummate insider. He's always talking with his buddies. And this brings me to a person that I have a true love-hate relationship. Most of the time it's hate. Today it's love because I was able to make some quick cash off this bozo. He comes on every day at 6 and has a huge, huge audience. Anything he says will move stocks. This is what I think is truly problematic with CNBC. If you have 20 people all saying something, probably not going to get enough of them in any one camp to do it. But if you have a single show where you can and do, this is it. He's been blowing on Tesla since Tuesday. And one of the things I pretty much do no matter what is try to stay away from any stocks he's involved in, long or short, other than today. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But he brings a lot of people along that are probably fairly ignorant of stock trading. And, you know, what else can you say other than they follow what he says? And, you know, he's semi-successful at trading. But he can make the own market. So if he says something's going up, well, it certainly does for a little while. So, of course, since this thing really took off on Monday and we were out of the options, he started banging the drum on this thing and telling everybody how Thursday, when they came out with this giant announcement at Tesla, it would all be hugely exciting. And, of course, he runs it up. And, of course, at just about 12 o'clock, they have a wonderful press briefing. Of course, Cramer's not the only person in this thing. We've got a guy that's basically reading his own headlines and starting to believe them in Mr. Musk, Elon Musk. He basically is tweeting things that, if you really stretched him, could it really cover what he said today? The answer was sort of, but super highly disappointing if you really are going to do anything. So we've got a kind of a cabal of the blind leaving the blind. Anyway, I was more than willing to short this thing and make some quick bucks on it today. But the short, as you see on the chart in this is fairly quick. I couldn't see how Mr. Musk was going to get involved at all in making his car not have a problem with range anxiety, which is the buzzword they use now for people running out of juice in the electric cars. So basically, he says he's going to solve range anxiety. He didn't do that. What he did do was make the thing basically send a whole bunch of alerts to your smartphone telling you you're running out of gas. And I guess you could do that in a regular car. Doesn't mean the range is any better. But, of course, the speculation was. And this guy's comes to the party enough during options expiration week and any time his stock is weak to be almost laughable now. In fact, he was tweeting on Tuesday. A lot of people hate me for doing this. I liked him. I made money on the way, both on the way up and a little bit on the way down today. But what do we know is that there is this kind of, I'm going to call it a cabal, because I've given this example before, but you go into the same restaurant and the clerk, you get the same clerk every time, and they short you $1 every time you go there, and 10 times in a row. Are they stealing from you, or are they just making a mistake? At some point, you're going to have to say, hey, well, this doesn't beg the smell test. Well, we've got Kramer, who was the consummate insider. If you read any of the books that his old employees said about him, everything that he did was basically, wasn't a technical trader, wasn't even a fundamental trader. Basically, he was trading on inside news and got out of the business as soon as that was illegal. And, of course, almost ran his hedge fund broke twice. But I do digress. The question is, at what point does somebody like a Kramer have enough juice to become really Tokyo Joe? And doing somebody else a favor if someone called up Kramer and said, hey, I need a little juice out of here to get out of a position. Would that be illegal for somebody on TV to do, as long as he didn't get something in return? Boy, I tell you what, it's pretty murky. I don't think that there's any laws being broken. But my guess, substantively, there is no difference between him and Tokyo Joe. Andy's making a bunch of comments from the peanut gallery today, so I had to laugh. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute. What I really wanted to talk about is Vernon Smith and my view of what's going to happen in the next few months, and why I think this Fed president is waving a red flag in front of a giant bull. We'll talk about this when we come back.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
with the launch of Tiger TV. TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, David White, Larry Pesavento, Andy Hecht, Thinkorswim, or Terrell Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And I wanted to get to my opinion part of the market. We're down a little bit today, but not a big deal. Yesterday we had a big move, mostly because people took the change in language originally to probably mean we're going to get a rate hike. And then she tried to use some weasel words from getting around it so she could jawbone the market and make people think that it's coming when it's not really coming. Anyway, we've moved from maybe an April or May move to now a September move and probably next Christmas maybe. And no one's going to believe her. I think we've jumped the shark when it comes to whether or not anybody believes she's actually going to raise rates. We've seen a huge move in the dollar, which probably wiped out a bunch of trading floors. My guess is we're going to hear about that in the next few days. But there's one interesting thing, and it's pretty much proved true. And I don't have much cotton for people that are in the economics game, since they can't ever be proved wrong or right for the most part. Vernon Smith is in a vein of economists that does do things differently. If he can't test it with real money and real people, he does not do it. This is behavioral economics, and instead of a lot of hyperbole as to what people would do he gives them money and makes them try to do it. In the case of what Vernon did, he did a lot of work in Chicago around both traders and non-traders, gave them a couple $100 and said, okay, here it is. We're going to let you trade. You get to trade for the next 3 hours. And we're going to have this imaginary thing. You bid it up, you bid it down. It doesn't actually represent anything other than the fact that when this 3 hours is over, you get to keep any money that you had. So everybody starts with something. They've got to buy it. And, of course, they keep bidding it up and selling it and bidding it up and selling it. And there's major wild swings all the way to the top. Now, the question is, everybody knows that the game's over at the third hour. I think that's what it was. So what do they all do? Well, 95% of them all trade to the last minute, and it all goes to zero before they can get out. There are a handful of people that have been in the stock market. He tested it with people that had been on the trading floors for 10 years. They did poorly for the most part, too. I guess the takeaway from this is that everybody tends to trade all the way up into the last minute, and they always believe that they will have time to get out. I think smarter people on Wall Street won't. And I think they'll know that they need to get out early. But in that very last time where everybody knows that time is getting rather precious, you tend to see wild gambling like we saw in Tesla today. My guess is that we're going to see a lot more of those kind of massive intraday swings based on news on stocks that have dubious values. If you have a stock that has real values, you may have a fundamental trader out there that goes, hey, this thing just went to an EPS of 20, I'm selling it. Of course, if you have no EPS or no real EPS, or you're some kind of bogus trading that or accounting that basically is derived from non-GAAP accounting rules, then who in the world knows? And my guess is that we're at that right now, at that range where Ms. Yellen has got the red cape and waving it in front of the bull. But I think that what we're going to have is people with lots of cash are going to slowly start to exit as we go into this. So I'm not looking for a lot of moves in the big cap stocks. Basically, those big cap stocks will probably either trade sideways or down until we get a rate hike, maybe not much higher. So the indexes could play around here and not do very much. But my guess is you're going to see huge intraday spikes and reversals like you see today in Tesla. It was up at almost 205. It's trading out at 196 now. And I think it opened up at 198 or something. But I don't think this is going to be a one-time thing. I think we're going to start seeing stocks that aren't just total phonies, but stocks that have, I rail against people who say total addressable market, because I know that there's a giant lie coming after that term. But same kind of thing, where there aren't any real earnings, where there isn't any real EPS, where there's a pie in the sky at the end. I suspect we're going to see a lot of gambling come on until she actually raises rates, and then the party's going to be over. That could be till September. We'll be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Everything is awesome.
And everything is awesome. And of course, that's for our friend out there in Las Vegas. You can always email me at path@tfnn.com, post a message in the den, and or call us at 877-927-6648. Anyway, Vernon Smith, actual economist that put his money where his mouth was, got lots of people to come in, and basically the same thing happened every time. He'd get people that had both been on trading floors in Chicago, off floors, people that didn't know anything about stock markets, and basically set them in, and they all do the same thing. They trade right up to the minute. They all think they can get out, and that's it. And he did this with real money. And pretty interesting to see that generally one or two people out of, he had a room set up with the trading computers, and like 20 people at a time, and one or two people would walk out with all the cash. They were all happy. He would bring in people that were options traders from the floors, and they'd do it 2 or 3 times before they started getting out. Now, they did especially the option traders started to learn after a bit of time. But pretty smart guy. Think about Dr. House with a little bit of Tourette's syndrome. I tried to get him on the show. I got his compatriot because he's got, I hate to say it because I always say it wrong, Asperger's, and a little bit of Tourette's and some other stuff rolled in. So an interesting guy to talk to, I will say the least. Was going to have him on the show, and we ended up having his buddy on to talk about it. Of course, his buddy's not him, and his buddy, pretty milk toasty, not as live. Old Vernon would have been a great guest. Now, he will occasionally have a chat with people, but I found out later that he'll only do it if it's aired later and he gets the ability to edit it, because he may say some epitaphs at the wrong time. So a little nutty, very smart, and he does the only kind of science I know that you truly test it with people that are going to lose money if they do something wrong. But they all trade pretty much till the end, right up to it before everything blows up. And if you tell somebody it's over at 3 o'clock, they'll trade to 258 and then all expect to get out in that last minute. And I suspect we are having just that. Janet Yellen is saying, maybe September now. So go ahead and get that bubble fired up. And I think we see that in things like the IBB. That's probably going to have a big day tomorrow with a lot of news coming out in the biotechs and other things like that. Well, I'll get off my on the other hand, I like that. I like that. One of the Mr. Bill in the Den says, quote about wanting to be a one-handed economist because on the other hand, all the time, actually put real money. And I think there is this behavioral sciences, and why he got the Nobel Prize in 2003, I think. Because everybody figured out, hey, if you're just asking people questions, they're probably not going to tell you the truth. Anyway, it is a mad market, and we will continue on looking at here. Where's my little chart? Anyway, we got Tesla now trading at about 195. So a lot of people were fleeced today, and maybe they'll call him up and yell at him. That is the problem. If you get a lot of people following you, you become the market, and it is problematic. I was hoping for a little bit more. I wanted to short this thing, and I could do it intraday, but not long term. I needed a little bit more movement out of this thing, a little higher. We may get it in the coming weeks. Like I said, I have a feeling there are a lot of gamblers coming on in the near future. Let's get to some other charts. There's a lot of stuff to talk about yet today. Go into some of the tests. Wanted to see how some of these stocks out here at the bottom that we're testing that are lows on light volume have been doing. I don't know a lot about this dang China company. Again, I don't trade these Chinese companies, but not a bad looking chart. Energy, probably a little bit too much for me to actually trade this stock, but pretty good test of the bottom, the February low out here, $7.76. Got into it a couple of days ago with just under 1 million shares, so 30% light. Yesterday, 9.21 thousand shares, or 921,000 shares today. Pretty light and a little doji out here, so keep an eye on that. We want to see how some of these other stocks worked. We have pierced the bottom in Oxy. It looks like a one-day reversal, but not a lot of energy still, and you're still up against that December 16th low at $72.32, 8.8 million shares. Today, 3 million shares, and you're probably going to close below it. But to me, it looks like you're trying to hold a balloon or a soccer ball under the water. This thing looks like, unless we start getting some big volume before the end of the day in some of these stocks like Oxy and XOM, we may be making a final bottom out of some of these. Exxon also fairly interesting out here. A little less downside to this one. This one has been holding up fairly well. And of course, as long as you're above 86 bucks on this thing, you're on a buy signal. We kind of closed back into it yesterday, but not enough. You needed a few more pennies to go through that December 16th low at $86.16. So we're back underneath that today. But boy, talk about very light volume today. If I was short these things, I would have to really be thinking about it before I went on. I'm not bullish on crude, but whatever it is out here that we're looking at is becoming very interesting. Now, some of these stocks have come back and been, like I said, fairly interesting, but we'll see. Rio Tinto, another one out here that was, some of these steel stocks, especially yesterday, we'll get into those too, but not, at least they're back to support. Let me put it that way. These stocks don't look like they've got a bunch of energy ready to blow through these bottoms. Rio Tinto is still got to get down to $40.70, which was the December 15th low with 2.7 million shares. This thing gapped up, though, with 4.5 million shares, and that's what's acting as support. That gap came on the 16th of December, the day after that low. So you had a pretty strong reversal. You had a good sign of strength out here. This thing's been kind of meandering back and forth. If you compare it to the January 14th low at 42.07 with 5.5 million shares, you really never have gotten that either. So you got a couple of signals out here saying that these things, maybe businesses is not all it's bad to be, or maybe the prices have come down so much that it's good for them. I don't know a lot about Rio Tinto, but steel stocks and some of these others looking extremely interested. Sun Edison, some of the bigger companies out here in the quote, safe stocks. SUNE is up against its July 14th high at $24.35, 12 million shares. Got into it with 7 million shares yesterday, kind of peeking back in here. So we've got some stocks where a lot of people were very nervous, and so they're buying these stocks with a lot of dividends and stuff, but unknown at this time what's really going on. Time Warner looks like it wants to go out and test the $88.13 high from July 21st. That had 9.1 million shares. You got into it with 2.5 million shares on December 29th. Still haven't pierced that 88.13. Got all the way back to $76.94 on February 2nd with 5.7 million shares. Now you're up here with more volume. Yesterday, basically 5 million shares. That's what makes me think you're going to probably try to get into that 88.13. At least some fairly decent volume yesterday and not much of a pullback out here. So I think if you're waiting on some of these stocks still setting up. Visteon Corporation, another one that's sitting on some fairly decent support. This thing gapped up with a sign of strength. I would have liked to seen it close higher than it did on the 17th of December, but it popped up 2.5 million shares. Came into it and filled that gap pretty much back to January 30th at 95.96 with 1.2 million shares. So I had a nice run up here, nice pullback. Again, we're back into it with even a little lighter volume. 840,000 shares yesterday, and a little bounce out of here today on light volume. Of course, it is options expiration, so maybe not as much stuff going on, but not a bad looking chart out here. Your risk reward is pretty darn good for trading range between this 96 and 107. You'd need to break this level with some kind of volume, but even if you wanted to be the most giving on that, it's 1.2 million shares, and you had 840,000 yesterday. So you were 400,000 short. If you go up against the 2.4 million shares, you're basically less than, 38%, 37%, something like that. So there are some stocks out there that look like they're making some interesting moves. One of the ones I was interested in was the Vietnam sector's ETF as a proxy, because this thing has broken. I suspect it's because they get so much of their money from crude these days. But this thing broke and jumped the creek on the 16th, and you didn't have the volume. But boy, we're getting it today, and that's the way some of the times these things come back in and you get the volume. But the February 2nd low at $18.12 with 430,000 shares. You jump that with 309,000 shares. Had kind of a little reversal yesterday, but just 259,000 shares. And then, of course, the volume comes in and boom, boom, out go the lights. But I think a lot of these, I think Vietnam makes 70% of their cash from a lot of oil wells off its coast and right around its coast and offshore, and about 30% selling bad T-shirts. Bad T-shirts, but it's hard to say. And coffee. Okay. One more out here. These biotechs are all up here at these highs. Be very interesting to see what happens tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of biotech news, and this one's up against the February 12th high at $47.40. So basically 7 million shares. Tried to get into it with 5.2 million shares on the 2nd of this month. Yesterday tried to get in with 3 million shares. Still hanging out at these highs, not seeing a lot of pullback. Tomorrow will be very interesting for those. If we go back just a little bit farther, we were talking about Yandex, and I wanted to see how some of these things, are they really breaking down on a pullback today? And the answer so far is no. And that is these Russian stocks. I'm wondering if there isn't some kind of deal going on. Where was Putin anyway? Everybody's got some rumors. Do you think maybe he was negotiating something with the West and just didn't want his face in the paper or something else? This very interesting pattern, though, in these Russian stocks. The December 16th low out here at $15.02 with 12 million shares. Got into it with 6 million shares, bounced on February 2nd. Now back in with 3.5 million shares. To tell you the truth, it'd be very interesting to me to see what's going on out there. But I certainly, if I was short, I'd be out of this short. And I'd be looking to see whether or not there's some big news coming out of Russia where they bury the hatchet. Andy says he thought that where in the world is Putin? He's in getting rhinoplasty. Rhinoplasty. You don't get to say that word enough. I'm going to say it one more time. Rhinoplasty. Anyway, so Yandex, fairly interesting. I wanted to see how some of these other stocks are handing up today, and a lot of high short interest in these solar stocks. We didn't really break the previous lows with a lighter volume. Certainly had equal volume, but not seeming to bother Solar City today. And I wanted to see how this was doing, especially with oil. January 20th, you had $46.45 as the low with just under 3 million shares. You basically had the same thing on March 16th. We rally anyway for the last 2 days. And then today, got a little no volume doji out here. The question is just what's going to happen. No real clear signals on this. We've been talking about how some of these gold and silver stocks are actually not looking all that horrible out here. And certainly, you've got gold up $17 still, even with a reversal in the dollar index. In fact, all the way back. You can't make this stuff up, can you? In the dollar index. Well, that's in the current contract. Let me see what we've got for the continuous contract. Where am I at here? Yeah, $99.46 on the continuous. So we're up 91 and basically 50 cents off our $100 high out here. Anyway, if you've got anything you'd like to call me about, 877-927-6648. Give me a call. Email me at path@tfnn.com. I'll check my messages during the break.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to the Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today. As this one-of-a-kind winter comes to a close and spring approaches, it only seems fitting that now is the perfect time for a spring Tiger Dollar sale. For this week only, we're doubling the bonus that we give when you purchase any amount of Tiger Dollars. Normally, we offer a 10, 15, or 20% bonus when you purchase Tiger Dollars, but for this week only, we're doubling our special offers, and you can now get up to a 20, 30, or even up to a 40% bonus on your Tiger Dollar purchase. This is one of our best Tiger Dollar sales of the year and won't be around for long. Tiger Dollars can be used for any TFNN product or service and provide a great way to lock in added value on your subscriptions. Tiger Dollars never expire, so whether you're a current subscriber or plan on subscribing at one point in the future, take advantage of this spring Tiger Dollar sale this week only and get up to a 40% bonus on your Tiger Dollar purchase. This sale ends Sunday night, so don't miss out. All the details are on the front page of TFNN.com. Get your Tiger Dollars today and lock in your bonus before this sale passes you by.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Had some questions via email, and Roger asks, so you think we're headed higher? Are you buying something? I said, yeah, I bought some medium-term trades that I think I'll probably hold out until May now. They look like they bottomed, and there's a massive short interest in them. And I think that we could hang these things out to May 1st or so. And I don't think a lot of people are going to get too excited about selling, thinking that they've got till September now to hang on to low interest rates. We may see a little back and forth here in the markets as they digest, but my guess is that we'll have a stampede of bulls come Monday and Tuesday next week back on CNBC, and they'll tell everybody about how we're going to the moon. And like I said, I don't think the indexes are going to go that much higher. I do think that we're going to see some lessened volatility in the greater market and greater volatility in speculative NASDAQ stocks. And, if you can find something that's made a low, that's got some decent support underneath it, I'd probably be buying that. I wouldn't be buying stocks that are pure gambling speculation. But those things are probably going to move fairly well as long as they don't say anything about it. Now, some people may say that the move back in the dollar negates any belief that she's going to raise earlier than later. And my guess is that she probably is going to come out and sound even more dovish to try to get that dollar down in the coming months. And I don't know how soon the next time she's going to do it. But my guess is that the reason the dollar reacted is they thought she was dovish. And that's exactly what she wanted. And now that the market's called her bluff, she's going to have to go and actually do something about it. So we shall see. But NASDAQ out here, the S&P out at 2090. So we're off 9 points. No volume, though. Very, very light. We're here at 2.27 billion shares as we close the show today. We've got a lot of news coming out tomorrow. My guess is that we close up above 2,100, something like 2,105, something like that. So maybe 15 points higher. What that's going to do, though, is take a lot of people that are short today and see probably a little bit of squeeze, especially in stocks that aren't in the indexes. If you don't have to move the entire index, a lot easier. So probably secondary, tertiary stocks could see some big moves tomorrow. And at least that's what I'm betting on my short-term options. But we shall see. I'm going to lose a little bit or make a great deal, I think, tomorrow. I don't think there's a lot of middle ground for tomorrow. And, of course, it is triple witching tomorrow, or quadruple witching. Plus, we've got an eclipse. Plus, we've got a full moon. Plus, we've got, I think, the sign of the apocalypse, and the four horsemen are going to ride through my front lawn, and just about every kind of signal. And I think why the four horsemen are out there, they're going to shoot off flares. But other than that, probably no real signals to look at. Just do not pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Of course, it's going to tell us a lot about the last few minutes of the close today. And we'll be looking forward to Tom's show in the next hour and 2 hours, actually. And then, of course, our friend out there, Mr. Andy Heck, in the 5 o'clock hour, talking about commodities and this whiplash, full airbag deployment in the dollar. I bet he's got a few things to say about that. And Mr. Putin and Mr. Kramer. So we'll look forward to that. In the meantime, we're going to see you tomorrow. Look for action, because it's going to be here everywhere tomorrow with quad witching. So look for some sharp moves at the open and sharp moves at the close, and sharp moves during the middle of the day and sharp moves. See you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. So when you can, not when you have to.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.